going on, guys? So got another little review for you this week. It's gonna be on a jig of all things. First non-hard bait review. So here we go. The first jig review that I'm going to do is going to be on the Ganns jig. I've got two different models here. I've got the Hummer jig and the Draggin jig. So let's go ahead and do the review. Okay, guys, so Gann's Performance Tackle. They have three different style jigs. Draggin jig is the modified football head design. And then they have a Hummer jig, and then they have a flipping and pitching jig. In this review, we're going to look at the Draggin jig and the Hummer jig. So the Draggin jigs, let's go ahead and move these ones out of the way. The Draggin jigs are just like the modified football head. So these particular jigs have a smaller hook on them. Let's see if I can go onto their website and find out exactly the size hook that they're using. Doesn't say, but they have light fiber weed guards on them and gamakatsu hooks, and they have a wire trailer keeper on them, and that trailer keeper actually helps out a lot. So it'll tear up the bait a little bit when you're pushing it on, so you got to be kind of careful. But if you don't like it, it's still got that barb on there. You can just cut these things right off. But I actually use them a lot. I think that they work pretty good. You just got to get used to having them on there so they don't tear up your baits. It has a smaller hook on them as opposed to the Hummer jig, but it really does, in my opinion, doesn't hurt the hookups of the fish. I usually thread on a Yamamoto double tail grub, and whenever I've felt a fish bite these, I rarely lose a fish on a hook set. So if you're concerned about that small hook, you don't have to be concerned about it. So this color here is Summer Craw. The next color is Brown Orange Throat. Brown Orange Throat's got that orange color on the bottom like that, and then it's got a couple strands with a scale pattern on it. And the third one is called Ugly. These particular jigs, if you look at the bottom of them, they're flat. So like I said, it's a football headed jig. You can kind of see where the football head is, but it's like smashed in. And since it's got this flat side, it helps it stand up really, really well. You go and you try to tip it over, and I mean, with fairly decent amount of effort, it still comes right back up. So so that's kind of nice when you're flipping it out there. You know that it's always gonna pretty much stand up by itself, and your trailer is always gonna be oriented the way you want it to be oriented, which is nice. The Hummer jig does a pretty good job, but this is pretty much what this particular jig, the Draggin jig, is. That's its specialty. So that's a nice touch. The next ones are the Hummer jigs. Let's go ahead and focus on those. So the Hummer jigs, like I said, they have a bigger hook on them. Let's go ahead and focus on that. They still have that trailer keeper on there, and they still have the light fiber weed guard on them. But if you look at the head of these, they are more arced. So they come through grass a little bit easier the way that they are set up, in my opinion. So you might use them for something different, but that's what I use them for. Mainly, my go-to jig is a football-headed jig. If I am just tossing it into any situation, I'm going for a football-headed jig, and these are more specialty to me. So, but there's a jig out there for everybody, so you might fish these a little bit differently than I do. So there's no set way to fish them. So this color here is called Dark Olive Candy, and it's got that silicone skirt with the glitter on it. And the next one is just called Brown Craw, which is just like a brown silicone with a scale pattern in it. So, not a whole bunch to say about a jig. I mean, a jig is a jig. If you haven't checked out any of the Gann stuff, check them out. They make they're more of like a custom shop. They make everything right there in house, and everything is really top notch. If you check these things out, you'll know that you're buying a great product. I think they're in about between the $350 to $450 range as far as price is concerned. So they're not the cheapest jig around, but you get what you pay for, and these ones are right up there in the upper stratosphere of top-notch jigs, in my opinion. So check them out. Gann's Jig. You can pick them up on Tackle Warehouse, or you can just go to their website at gannstackle.com. And thanks for watching. I'll have a new review for you next week, so check it out. Thanks.